Good morning, everyone. It's Rita here, and I am going to do my slow stitching, Sunday slow stitching with Rita. I'm making a journal cover, which is a log cabin style, and in my last video, you saw that I was starting to put these little log cabin squares together, which are 3 by 3, and so they're wonky. They're not straight. I didn't want them to be straight, so if I wanted them straight, I would have never got them straight anyway. So, but that's what I did, and this is a 9 by 12 long piece of felt that I'm using as my base. Okay, and so now I just laid them out. I don't care. I was going to say, okay, I want to do this part, all the darks going into the center. But then I decided, you know what, it's just not going to work out very well. And so I just did it random. I didn't even move one. I just set them all down as I went. All I did was make sure that everything was around 3 inches in diameter, the squares. So I'm going to start off by stitching these together so that we have one whole little palette. So this one I already stitched, and I just did an overcast stitch on there, and I'm going to take this one and line these up, and you can put a pin to hold them while you're starting, or you can use a wonder clip if you want. So I've got my needle here on my little needle minder. I've got a knot in my thread, and I'm just going to go both layers. Or see, this one's a little short of my 3 inch, but I cut my outside piece to make it 3 inches. If you have one of these a little ruler like this, they're at all the quilt shops. I think Walmart even carries some. Or online. They're just nice to have because you can see this is a 3 by 3. Let me get it here. So see, there's 3 by 3, and that helps you line them up, and you can mark them or just eyeball it. Okay, so I was planning to do this whipping, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a running stitch across here and just kind of see if that would be enough to hold it. I think it might. If I do the running stitch just a little bit smaller than I say would do stitching decoratively. This is more like a stitch to hold the fabric together. And either way, we're going to still be stitching over this, over and over it. At least I plan to. I'm not sure what I want to put on the front of this. I went to Pinterest last night, and that was a disaster. Don't go to Pinterest. No, it's fine. You'll go to Pinterest and get all the ideas you can get. Okay, so if I open that now, I was trying to kind of spread it to see how the stitches would show. They're not too bad. And most of the time, they're going to be hidden by something else. Or if I see a stitch that I think is ugly, okay, I'm going to bring this back through here and do my, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do, whoops. I was going to do a French knot. I want to do a knicker knot. That's when you take your thread that you were sewing with, you take a little bite of your fabric and then wrap it around the top behind the needle. Then you take your strands back here and you wrap them in the opposite direction, and then you just pull on through, and that makes a wonderful knot. And you can cut that fairly short and not worry about it coming out. Okay, so now there's 3 sewn. And we are probably going to lose a little bit of distance, you know. Probably if I was to do this again, I would do I'm just trying to think here. Probably would do maybe 3 1/4 inch squares, because I really didn't think about the shrinking that it would do. Now I could put another piece of fabric in here and tie these two together. So maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll stitch these and lay them out a little bit at a time and see if I need to, if I have to put a gap in them, you know, a strand. I don't know if I have any in here. I didn't bring that box, but let's say this, a little piece of this kind of really jumps at me. So I could make one more log, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe, you know, just sew them together on each side and continue a log and make it. So I'll have to find a few pieces of fabric so it doesn't I don't have too many the same. All right, so let me do one more and then I will stop the video. And to make your knot, you're just going to make a quilter's knot, which you hold in your index finger, hold your needle, can you see this? Hold your needle on top, twist it like 3 times, slide it down, grip it right there with your nail or finger, and slide it on down, and that makes your quilter's knot. Okay? Now if you want to, you could sew these together with regular 50 weight thread. I didn't bring any in with me again, but that might make it, you might be able to make a little tighter stitch going through. I wasn't afraid I wasn't going to have enough variation in color because I kept using the same pieces. You know, when you're doing this kind of thing, well, I don't want this to go too deep. You tend to have favorites. I don't know. There's just one fabric that you pick up and you really like. Like this one, I love this fabric. So I tried not to use it that much, and then in the end, I didn't use it that much at all. So you never can tell. Okay, a little bite at the end, then over, and these two go over that way. And if you don't have enough at the tail, I'll show you another knot real quick. You just take a little bite and you bring your loop up like so, and then you go in one and into the loop again and come straight down. I think it's probably about the same knot. It's just a little different to stitch it. If you want to do it that way, you can. Now see, I lost that whole section there, and I will take these and press them. I pressed all of these flat too before I started. I don't know if I said that. It's not perfect. It's homemade. This one here, some of the fabric is kind of poking out right here. So I'll try to remember that and try to cover it. So what I mean by covering it, we might put a piece of lace right there. Okay? Or we might put a butterfly, which probably not, but you know, those things are going to be covered up. Okay, so I will put the video on pause. I will sew the rest of these and make a press so that we can see where we need to add another piece. Okay? Okay, I'm back for a minute here. I have sewed all of the blocks together and I pressed them, and I actually pressed them open like I would in a normal quilt, just so we didn't have to go stitching through too many big lumps and bumps. Okay, and then I thought I was going to leave it so I could go all the way to the edge and just put a piece of fabric in between them, but I decided to go ahead and stitch them together, and if it leaves this much, around a ½ inch all the way around, then I will fold my backing over. So on the back we will have a solid piece of fabric, just to give you an idea, and it will be an inch larger than the front. Okay, so if this is 12 by 9, it would be 13 by 10, the back piece. Okay, so then we would be, I think, well, we might have to make it a little bit bigger, because if I have this much left over, it might not reach. So what we'll do is we will be folding it down like so. Can you see me? Because I don't know if I'm in the camera. And then we'll be folding it over, and it will be folded over this. So, but if we have some left over and we make this a little larger, we don't need to fold it over all of the way. So we can leave some of that edge. But we'll be basting this down before we do that, so that we know exactly, you know, how much fabric we need to turn it. And then it'll come all the way down here, and then we'll fold it in here, fold it here. I can hold on to all this where it's not really stitched, and then fold it over again on the sides. I'm sorry, it's not staying, but I will explain that to you when we get to it. Okay, and we will be using a full sheet of fabric for that, which will be the inside of the journal. This is going to be the outside cover. Okay, so I'm going to sew the rest of these together. Before I do that, someone was asking about my needle book, and I didn't know how to make a needle book when I started doing this. I just saw them on YouTube, and I thought, well, can't be that hard. So I took a piece of felt, which was exactly the same as what I have here, and I got some of my batting, my quilt batting, which is warm and natural, and I made pages. So I made one, and these are out of scrap pieces that I had left over from quilting, so they're kind of a different color. So I took 1, 2, and then that was 3, and then 4. That would make me 4 pages. So if you wanted to, you could put another piece and make it 6 pages. Then I sat those down inside of my cover right here, and then I just did a stitch, a big running stitch up the center of all of it. I think yeah, I went all the way through, I believe. And that's how I hooked them on. Then I just took, I had this piece of fabric that I had a stamp on it, and I just sewed that in, blanket stitched it. Here, I just took a piece of trim and I stamped slow stitch on the front, and this is just a little needle keeper thing. This one here is for my cross stitch or needles that I don't really want to use, because if I don't put them somewhere else, they will go back into the needles, and then I'll pull it out again. This little pocket holds several needles. Then I put these little tabs on the side, just a piece of fabric, and stitched them on. This is the thread keeper, you know, your odds when you're stitching and you want to throw them, and you don't want to throw them in the trash, or you're on like I go to the library twice a month, and so, and that way I don't have to worry about their having a trash can. It's right there. Plus I get to save those. And then here I use this little strip for safety pins, and it's got a magnet. I don't know, I might have showed this to you, but somebody asked me, so they probably didn't see that video. Then this one is just the magnets on the other side, and it holds on those seam rippers, which I don't use that often. And then I have a little pocket here that I stitched down and made little spaces for things. And then this one is where I tied all my scissors. And that's just trash. And then here's another little pocket in the back with more needles. So that's what it is. And then I decorated all the front. Now I got all these pieces on front from a lady who sells kits for slow stitching. And because I just really didn't know what I needed, you know, so I bought the kit, and I'm happy that I did, because it really helped me put things together the first time around. Some of it's mine. That's a piece of mine. This is my fabric. I didn't use everything that was in the kit, but quite a bit. So, okay. Let me... and I didn't use the overcast stitch. On that one, I took it out and changed it back to just a running stitch because it didn't hold very well. I think I saw somebody do it online. I thought, oh, that might work, but not really. Okay, so I'm trying to think if anybody else had any questions for me. Oh, gosh, I don't know. There was so many views, and I appreciate all of you for joining me. I had no idea that there was that many people into slow stitching. It could be that there's not that many people, but yeah, see, now it's getting kind of thick, so you may have to do the stab method. In some places anyway. I think that, you know, when there's somebody new, everybody wants to just kind of go see what they do. I don't do any fancy stuff. I do what I'm capable of doing. But there's so much you can do with just those very, very simple stitches. A lazy daisy. A feather stitch. I mean, I don't do the other feather. What is that? Can't remember what it's called. The one that goes back and forth. Fern, is it the fern stitch? I don't know. Anyway, I don't do it because I can't. I lose track. But my mind is not all what it used to be. And yeah, I could remember once I did something, a stitch, and I'm having a hard time pulling this, so let me find this is the little circle that you buy. You can get these at the Joann's. You know, I don't know if Hobby Lobby has them or Michael's, but I know Joann does. Or you probably can find them online. They're stitch pullers, I guess, is what they're called. I don't know. But they last for years. Except when you lose them, and I used to lose mine all the time. And then, you know, several days, months later, I would just find it. Because I did a lot of hand stitching. And that's what I used to quilt, to pull my quilt needle. Because if you've ever hand quilted, your needle is so tiny you can barely see the needle, and I can't do that anymore at all. Plus it kills my wrist. And if I know one of my subscribers, Jody, has a hard time stitching because it hurts her hands, and I know that feeling. One thing you can do, I brought this in here because it didn't work so well for me on this table, but if you're sitting in your living room or your lounge, as they would say, I love that word, rest your hands on the pillow like this, and then that strain of holding on to this fabric is not that difficult, as long as your stitching hand is okay. But I know what she means because it hurt the hand I used to hold my quilts with. Or you could put this in a hoop, and what I would do is, because this is a big piece, I think I would stitch it down to another layer of fabric at the same time. Put the other fabric in the hoop and lay this on top and stitch. I don't know. I haven't tried that, but maybe I'll give it a try. So anyway, that's something you can do. This one's, that pillow is a little too puffy for where I'm sitting right now. And I'm just sitting here because of the camera. Otherwise, I'd be sitting in my den. Not my living room, not my lounge, but my den. My sewing den. It's not, I don't know what they call women caves. I mean, it's not a man cave. It's a sewing cave. Yep. So, okie doke. So I'm going to stop there, and I will get all these three sewed together, and then I will be back with the remainder of the video where we start stitching this all down to this piece of felt or whatever you're using. One of the ladies mentioned that she had fleece left over from things that she made her, I don't know if it was her children or grandchildren. And I had a lot of that too, a bunch of fleece. And now I wish I'd kept it because I could have used it. It would have been pretty much the thickness of this, maybe not as stiff. But even if it wasn't stiff enough, after you sewed your fabric onto it, you could probably put a fusible something, a stiffener to, you know, on the back of your fleece, just to give it a little more body if you needed body. But anyway, this is going to be, I think it's going to be kind of cute. That's going to be the front of the journal. It doesn't look as big as it did to me now. Now it's shrinking up. But I think we'll have fun, I hope, trying to find things to put on here that will be pretty. And a background fabric. All right, guys. So, yeah, I'm going to stop the video right here, and I'll be back for you in a couple seconds, and for me, probably a whole day. Okay. Okay, everyone, I'm back. So I've got all these little strips sewn together, like so. And now I'm going to put it on my piece of felt background, which was 9 by 12. But since this shrunk down and I have this excess here, I'm just going to cut the excess off. But first, before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and do some stitching to hold this all in place. And then we can start working on a little bit more decorative stitching. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin this down in a few places that just keeps it on here so that it doesn't fall off while we're stitching. These pins that I use, they're quilter pins, and what is good about them is they have this curved edge here. Actually, it's curved up here too, but it makes it easier for you to bring your to lift this up and snap it closed. If you use a straight a regular safety pin, I mean, oh, look at, I've got glue all over. I was working on a, not glue, I mean glitter. Starts with the G, either way. Anyway, that was from the earlier project. So, yeah, just a few places, just so you can pick it up and move it, not worry about it, you know, sliding around. So I'm going to do what we did before, which was a invisible stitch, basting type stitch. But I'm not going to baste in the darks because I don't want to have to pick those stitches out. If I baste in here, I'm just going to, I think I'm just going to baste along the top edge of this. So it would be a real tiny stitch here, if you can see this, and then a longer stitch on the back, and another tiny one here. I mean, it's up to you how far you want to bring your threads, but it doesn't really matter because nobody's going to see the back of this. Or if they do, it's not finished, so you could share with your friends, I guess. But yeah, I thought I would just tack it just like this. It's a little bit hard to, I don't know, it's okay to work on a flat table like this because so many people do. But I kind of just like the feel of it in my hands, you know, up. Well, I like to have it close enough that I can see what I'm doing. Another reason. I need my pull thing. Okay. So I appreciate all of you that have subscribed to my channel, and I can't tell if it's that you're subscribing for the slow stitch or my journal making, but either way, I'm happy that you're here. And now see, that's kind of dark, so I don't want to stitch there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it sideways here. I'm going to go down a little bit and do another basting stitch here. And we're just going to randomly put these across. You know, it's not holding down. It's not like a big quilt. It's just a small little thing to put here. Okay, I'm going to come down and let's go into this section here. Do a little basting. And you know, if I was going to do this again, I think I would do it a different way. I think I would go and do it with leaving the salvage edge open and stitching across it like I'm doing now to put the stitches down, put the fabric pieces down. I guess it just depends on the look you want. I've seen different people do hand stitching these log cabins in different ways. So I'm sure if you just Googled it, you could find other ways. Okay, I'm gonna, oops, just keep stabbing my finger. I'm gonna go over this way. I'm using a needle 24, I think. Let me see. Let's see, where did I put those new ones I just bought? Yeah, they're DMC, and I'm using the 24. I'm using the smaller than the 22. They're Chanel needles because I like the tininess of it. I've always been so used to, so you can take these out as you come to them. I'm used to using a very tiny needle for most of the work I've ever done by hand. And now that I'm using larger stitches and thicker threads, oops, hold on, I'm trying to see, I can't really see. Come on. Okay. Because I'm used to using like things like silk threads, doing applique, needle turn applique. All right, so I'm just going to do a double little knot thing here. And that felt, your needle wants to grab onto it. Okay. Another thread. Let's see, I'm working on a roll that I'm trying to keep going with. I probably should not sit on this too long in this little segment and do these off screen. But I kind of wanted you just to see how I was going to jump around, because there's no reason to stitch down every single area. Is that where I left off? I don't know. I'm going to go back in there. Okay, little stitch, a big stitch. A little one and a big one. Now if I was doing like the borrow stitch, it would be even lengths across, like each stitch would be like a 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, whatever you want to spend your time doing. And that is, and then there's and the same stitch, it's just a running stitch, and they call it different things in different countries. And there's, I'm going to jump over here to this lighter color. The camphor, I think it's camphor stitch. I'm not even sure how you spell it. There's no reason for me to say it out loud to myself, because yeah, I don't need to. So I'm not sure how everything is pronounced, really. I mean, the words. Okay, so I'm going to put you on pause here, and I'm going to just keep getting all this stitched. This won't take very long, really, and then I'll come back, okay? Okay, I'm back. So I've stitched all this down the best I could to, you know, keep it intact to the backing, which is the felt. And then I went and I kind of wanted to do, to square this off. And as you can see here, it's pretty crooked in this area. So I drew a line where it would be straight and just left this the way it is right now. This side I did the same thing, but this side here, which is going to be either the top or the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and cut this and make it a little bit more even with the top and the bottom. Just, you know, nothing comes out perfectly when you're doing this. At least for me, it doesn't. If you're a perfectionist, you probably could, you know, make it work exactly how you wanted it. So it's a little off here, but when I turn over for the binding, I don't think it's going to be noticeable. This part here, I'm going to leave it for a while, because I think when I close this, and if I close it to all the way where the fabric is, see, and leave this little bit out, I might just cut this way and add a tab here to come over and latch onto this. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to cut it off yet until I know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do from minute to minute. Okay, so next, I thought, okay, so we can start stitching some embellishing stitches. We can kind of get an idea of what, you know, we want to put on here. And what I did was, I don't have it with me. My iPad is not in this room. But if I, you know, in my next video or the next part of this video, I'll see if I can bring it in here and show you. But what I did was I took a picture of the front. And then I have an iPad that you can draw on the, well, not the iPad, but I have a program. It's called Good Notes. No, yeah, Good Notes. I think it is. And it costs $10 for a year, but I like it because I can take a picture and then I can make notes all over that picture as to what I might do. So you could do it on a piece of paper, but then you don't have, you know, your actual things. So if I had my iPad in here, for instance, I would have maybe made a vine right here with some flowers, and maybe I would have gone over here and put a patch, so to give me some idea of what kind of stitches I want to put. But that's not necessary. It's not at all. You can just start stitching on here no matter what you, whatever you want to do. So for instance, here I have a piece that's coming up, and I don't want that to be coming up more. So what I will do is put something like that and cover it. So I think, let's see, if I do it this way and this is coming up. All right, so let's just make this the what we think is going to be the front. Okay. So now where's that piece that here. So if I did that, that's going to be in the front right there. If I put that piece in. I have, now these are just stamped. I'll just show you here. These are things that I just stamp with my stamps. This is actually a rub-on that I have. This one is a stamp. And you can put these, you just rip off your fabrics, and these are just muslin fabric, and stamp on it. And then you've got a cute little decorative item to put on your journal cover or whatever it is you're making. Let's see if I had any other. These are all leaves. I just did those the other day. This one's a little bit more substantial print than this one. So, you know, you could put two of those like that on there. But I kind of want this to be, this is not really what I want because of the journal that I'm making, which is from the 30s. And I want it to look like it's all, you know, homemade-ish. Things that they would have found around the house to sew on. So for instance, buttons, things like that. Now, everybody always had a little piece of lace because they would bring their pieces of lace from back home or wherever they were. So that's something that could go on here somewhere. The little piece here. This might be a piece from, this probably was a tablecloth. So, you know, you could put that on this edge. Let's see, what else do we have? There's some other pretty lace. All my pieces are not very big, but that might look nice up there in the corner. I kind of like that look. Maybe this one would be nice because it looks more vintagey, like something they would have carried back with them, or to move on, because they did move on. A lot of people moved. Okay, I don't like that color. Okay. I think I want to do, okay, now I've got this burlap too. I just found this, so I thought maybe a piece of this would be kind of interesting in here. Just a little piece of burlap. And maybe a button. I'm just giving you ideas on things that, you know, you might have. Okay. So, I mean, I kind of already like that. And it's not very much, but it gives it the character. Okay, so let's just do a couple little things of stitching. Let's see how much time do I have. Okay. So let's do I don't know if I want to use different colors. I think things like that would be pretty. Let's see about kind of like this green. Let's see. Do I have a piece cut? Yeah. All right, let's take this, and I'm going to make I believe they call this feather stitch. Is it a feather stitch? I'm not sure. Oh, what is it called? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to do it right here because this is a pretty wide area. So I'm going to come up at the bottom of where I'm to start, and then I'm going to pull that up, and then I'm going to go about a quarter of an inch, I would say. And then I'm going to come up. Now this is, think of this as a person, and this is the belly button, and this is the shoulder and a shoulder. So this is I think this would be the left hand if you're looking in the straight shoulder. So we're going to bring this left hand shoulder here, and then we're going to go to the right hand shoulder over here, and then we're going to come up at the belly button. Okay, see that? Can you see that? I'll do it again right here so you can see. And then this will come down. I call it a Y stitch, but that's not what it's really called. Okay, then we're going to come up again at this shoulder. I think I'm doing this right. And then we're going to come up. Now we're going to leave a loop and come down, go down back into this shoulder, the right hand shoulder, and come up at the belly button. That's not the way it works. I knew that was going to happen. All right, I'm just going to go down right here. Because it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as it's got the V. What did I do wrong? Up. And then I want the loop. And maybe I'm going down too far. Okay, that's what it is. I don't need to go all the way down to the next leaf. I need to come up like halfway. So up at the left shoulder, down in the right shoulder, and then somewhere in the middle where the belly button could be. Pull it, and then go back down inside. No, hold on, I didn't go deep enough with it. Sometimes, you guys, if you have a book, sometimes if you're old like me and your memory's gone, it's nice to have like a book or something sitting there next to you so you can look over and refer to it. And I didn't think to bring one. Okay, up at the left-hand shoulder, down at the right-hand shoulder, come up at the belly button, and then go all the way down to the belly button before that. Okay, up. I hope I have enough thread to get through this. Oops, I gotta have my string over and then down. You can draw a line on this if you think you want, you know, you can't go straight across, but I don't worry about it. I hope you guys can see this. Somebody said when I was sewing, they couldn't see because I was out of camera when I brought the camera down, so I'm not going to bring it down. You can zoom in on this. I do that a lot. All right, I'm not going to be able to get really maybe one stitch out of this thread. And I usually wait till the very last bit of thread before I tie it off. Come on, go through there. That'll be good. And I usually leave a little bit of a tail because, whoops. All right, so I'm not going to thread more green and go up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some flowers in there. Now, let's see. I have this burgundy. This may not show up well enough on that background that's kind of red. How about this goldish color? This yellow gold might, or brighter yellow. Let's do a, that's more of a green. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I have a gold. There's a gold. Let's use gold. I have tons of colors of thread in my other room too. I just have my little basket of ones I've recently used, and so that's where they're staying. Okay. Well, quilter's not there. All right, so let's just, I'm gonna go down. I'm just gonna put, where's my pillow? And now I have it full of needles. That doesn't help much, does it? All right. Just turn it over. Okay. I use a little pillow because I like to stab it into the pillow. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 because I want them to stand out. Stab it into the pillow, hold the string right here tightly, and go straight down. Okay, then back up on the next little branch. 1, 2, 3, stab your needle back into the top there of that little branch, and then come straight down and go slow when you close it, because you'll get a little bubble in it. 1, 2, 3, and down. Hold your stitches. And I sew with a pillow on my lap when I sew in my room. So that helps me with the French knots. And it gives my hands something to rest on. Okay, and up here. And this is the part that's just relaxing. You just don't have to think. I mean, you might have to think your first stitch because you don't remember exactly how to do it. But once you get a rhythm, it just is real easy to sit and do. So you might want to do all your stems one time and then go back and do French knots all in the same time. And you can do as little or as much as you want on your stitching. Okay, I'll go over here. It kind of would have been nice to have one green. I'm going to make a French knot up here. Hope everybody's weather is good. Ours is absolutely amazing right now. And it probably won't seem to last that long before you know it. It's going to be hot and humid here in Georgia. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make, and on my flowers and things, I just make them up. I don't care if they look, if there's real flowers that way or not. But to me, it just seems like there should be like a big bunch of them at the top here, since I have that open space. All right, I might be able to get one more French knot out of this little piece. Okay, let me tie that off. Okay, another string. The stitching on this is not all that great, and if I was to do it again, I would just stitch on top with my big stitches. Big running stitches, or I guess you could baste them on. I don't know, but I would just do it raw edge like that. I think it would be just as nice looking. 1, 2, 3. Don't have anything to push it into. I hope I don't get one of those big loops. Oh, good. One, 2, 3. When you stick it into the pillow, it just stabilizes your needle, so you can pick it up and finish your. You're not supposed to have all kinds of pins in your pin cushion or whatever cushion you're. I'm gonna have to make one for these videos, a special little cushion. I tried to use that other cushion. I had the bigger one, but it's too big. And you don't have to use a pillow all the time. I just use it when I'm doing French knots. But I just love to do French knots, and I do a lot. So I think it just gives that extra little spark of interest on your pieces. It just, people look at it and say, oh my gosh, how did you put all those little knots in there? How did you do that? Okay. So, I don't know how much that shows up on camera, but I can see it pretty well. All right, let me see how much time I have. Okay. So since I have this string left, I usually try to use it somewhere. So let's just take this, and maybe we can do this brown across here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here, and then I'm just going to go at an angle down. And come down whatever distance you want. So it looks like to me about 1/4 of an inch, and another angle. So you come up at the top here, and go down here. Now a lot of this will get covered up that you're stitching, but it's okay because it gives it all the bumpiness and all the feel, all the texture that you are trying to get. Even though you put a big piece of lace over the top, you still have it. Okay, now I'm just going to come back up, and I'm going to come up in the bottom of that one the best I can. This is I'm probably going the wrong direction. Whoop. So that wasn't very good. Wait a second. What am I doing here? Trying to make X's. I did this before and I didn't have such a problem. It's because I need to start here at the bottom and go up. Okay, start at the bottom and go up. And you can go all the way to meet that other one you have, but if it doesn't look right to you, don't do it. Just do it like this. Just putting some X's. That's what I like about this slow stitching, is you don't have to think about it too much. You want it to look good, but again, it's what looks good to you that matters. Alrighty, so that is that. Having a heck of a time today. We'll see, my knot didn't even go all the way up. I'm just going to tie this together real quick to make it so it doesn't come out. There's more than one way to tie a knot. Okay, so that's that. So we have a couple little pieces of embellishment there. And if we look at it, it's going to be, that's right along that edge. This is going to go across the back. Let's see, what else can I do? Well, I can do some basic straight stitches, canter stitches, so I think I'll do some of this blue in there. All right, this one has never been opened. And my nails aren't really long enough to pull it out. Okay. Now that one was an 8 count. This one is 12. Because I bought some 12 weights because I find it just easier to sew. And oh my goodness. You pinch the thread and then just bring your needle down. And I don't know why this is not working right now. There. It's always on camera, it doesn't work. Or if it's off camera, you don't realize it because you just do it again. You just keep doing it until you get it done. Okay. So I think, like here, I'm just going to do a running stitch in this little section. So I'm just going to go like this. And being this is 12 weight, it goes through easier. And I think the color is just as bold as when you're doing it with a thicker weight, heavier weight. So I'm going to go down this 3 times, the same color. And it doesn't have to be the same exact length. This is really going to stabilize these pieces of fabric. Because, like I said, I probably wouldn't have sewn them with well, for one, I wouldn't have sewed them with the cotton, the pearl cotton. I would have probably used sewing machine thread of 50 weight because I could have made much tighter stitches. Okay, so there's that. And I think I've got thread left. I really kind of wanted to fix any seams that looked like they were coming up apart. But those are all pretty secure there. I'm just going to come up here and then I'm just going to do an overcast stitch. Because that way we know that all these seams are kind of restitched, reinforced. And I'm just going as far as that blue is on this side. Actually, do I want to go over and do, not really. Let's do, What I'm doing, I feel like I'm going backwards. I'm kind of going backwards. I don't know. You could add beads. You can add all kinds of things. Like on this one, you could add a bead at every top of those stitches. But this is supposed to be sort of primitive looking, so I don't think beads would be a good choice. Rocks, maybe. Kind of backwards. All right, so I'm going to just... I don't know if I want to do another video on this. Let me see about, let's see how much time I have. Let's see about just putting something here to so you can see it. And that way, this next week, I can add some more things. So those are just some examples of what you can do in these little sections. I even thought in the middle of these, I would do a lazy daisy, which, let's see. I don't know if I should like do them with the same color, like a red. This is a burgundy, but it's, I thought that color was red when I bought it, but it's not. It's not red at all. This one. Yeah, this one's a lot more red. I thought I had another red. I don't know. I think yellow would look cute, actually. I'm just going to do one. I think I'm going to do yellow. I don't know. I'm not having luck with this thread today. Oh my goodness, come on. I should just stop the camera every time I try to thread. And I never found any luck with the needle threader because it's all too big and you break your threader because it's so thick here. Okay, because they don't make a threader for this, I don't think. All right, so let's just pretend that this is this. I'm going to do one, and this one's a lazy daisy. So this one, you just I pull my thread over and hold it with my thumb, and then I go back into the center hole, and then come back up, however big I want my petal to be. And then go back down. All right, and then we'll come up again. keep your thread behind your needle, so when you pull it up, it's inside the loop. Another one here. Oops. Oh, I got it too far away. Oh, I'll try to cover that up. And don't pull your daisy too tight, because then this is what happens. It looks out of whack. All right, do one more. Fill that part in. Again, this is thicker thread. It's the 8 count. Or the 8 weight, I should say, not count. Mixing up my cross stitch with my slow stitch. Okay, that is not the best. I'm probably going to do that one over again. But anyway, you get the gist of that. And then, like I said, maybe I think I want this lace up at the top here. Someplace like that. And so in that case, because if you're going to have it open, if you're going to, I don't know, you could make a mug rug out of this size, but if you're going to leave it open, you would want to put your lace in a way that would look nice. But for me, because that's going to be the edge of the book, I think it looks good right there. And so, this, I don't like to stitch down lace with a color. I've done it a few times, and I've always like, oh, it just seems to take away from the lace, if you know what I mean. Okay. So I'm going to try to make that look like it's, doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but come up the bottom, and then I'm just going to do the canter stitch, running stitch, I'm not used to doing it flat on a table. Let's see if I can. Now this, you can also pin it down with safety pins if you have a big piece like this of lace, and it starts to move on you. So this kind of just goes in almost invisible to the lace, but it's doing the quilting at the same time. And I don't like to go across like that. I like to just go straight back down somewhere and then come back up where I want to. So I'll do another row right about in here. So if you guys start this, or my boxes if you wanted, those are fun to make. I can make those all day long. In fact, I'd like to make some right now, but I've got this project going on, so it's not enough time in a day. I need more time. But we have a Facebook group, my journal, because I didn't do slow stitching on YouTube. On my journal part, I have a Facebook group. It's called Junk Journal in a Day. And you can go over there and you can post pictures of what work you're doing. In fact, I might even do something like a thread. I don't know how to do it exactly, on just the slow stitchers, so that they can post their stuff in that thread. I have to find out. I don't know how to make that thread, but I hear people say that. Oops, I just covered my yellow. I'm not going to put that there. I'm going to move that out. See, that's the kind of thing you never know what you're going to put on top of each other, but that doesn't make any sense to. And I've hid most of these. Oh well. Like I said, you don't know what you're going to do next, or what you're going to cover. Or at least I didn't think about that, so I wish I had. But I've only got 2 rows there. I can take those out, cut this a little bit shorter, and then I can at least get those stitches shown again. So I might do that. In the meantime, I guess I would just keep trying to do some stitching on the rest of it, and then we'll get together and do the background, the binding part. Okay, thank you, and have a wonderful weekend and Sunday. Bye.